Hello there. I've got some Farmhouse thrift flip I turned into tabletop decor that I can't wait to share with you. My name is Whitney. I'm with Crafty Thoughts Whatnots. And let's jump into our craft room. So I went to Goodwill and I got some goodies. And this is my first time doing this, my first time doing thrifted items. And here, this is Goodwill, in case you couldn't see Goodwill. See my ticket, my tag. And I got these goodies here. So I got this little basket, just was cute. It was in very good condition. None of the stuff was crazy damaged or anything. And here's some just prefabricated little tabletop signs I liked. Again, their quotes are cute, but not for me. And then a couple frames. Nice heavy duty frames, guys. Nice heavy duty frames. These are not Dollar Tree frames. They're very good. They're very heavy. They got thickness and they're real wood. So getting started on our first project, I took the basket and I am going to make it my own. So this lid was a little curious to me. At first I thought I was going to leave it on, and then I decided to take it off. And what I'm going to do is we're going to turn her into another DIY. So I got 5 items, made 6 DIYs. So we're going to take it all apart, cleaned it all up. If you don't see me cleaning it on camera, it's basically I cleaned something off camera, whether it was with a baby wipe or hot soapy water and a rag off to the side, but you'll see me wipe things down, and some things you don't. I did wipe them down previous. So getting this little bundle here off, it did take a little bit of elbow grease and a lot of little tools, and it did leave a hole in there, but we're going to use that to our advantage later. So first off, we're going to go into the basket. And I'm going to take Little Black Dress from DIY Paint. This is my first time using it. It is a very pretty, deep, dark black color. And I'm only going to paint the edge of the rim of the basket and the handle. I don't like painting baskets in general. It's a little bit too much for me, and it's basically not in my cards, not in my list of things I want to do. So I usually only go after the just the ridges or the edges, the top lip of baskets, if there is one. And if there's any other like decorative work on it, that's easier to paint. And then also handles. It makes an impact, changes the basket completely. Now I did the inside of this too. We're going to fill it with goodies. You won't see it, but if you should maybe leave this for something that's like more of a grab basket kind of thing, like candy or pencils or pens or something in there, then yeah, the inside's kind of important to kind of get a nice little coat. And then I just made sure that I moved the basket handle all around, so every angle of the handle had been painted. You won't see any little spots here and there. And it goes really quick. The DIY paint is very pigmented, so I only did 1 coat. Everything today I use DIY paint for, and I only did 1 coat on it. It is a very nice, thick, good quality paint, and I like it. It does not have a sealer built into it, so you do have to seal this, whether you're using a decoupage medium, a top coat, or some sort of wax, which today we're using wax. Now, normally I use DIY wax. I could not find mine with this project. I do find it later on in the video. You will see me use the DIY wax. It's just a clear wax. And then again, you'll see some of that coming off into the lid of that little wax thing there. Use a separate paper towel to clean off your brush and clean off your lid. Don't mix your waxes while you're painting it, because this paint does come off. And then this is what we're in with. This is our little end result here. See how pretty it is? And it still dries. Now this wax is not 100% dry right now. I'll tell you that. It does take sometimes up to days to cure completely, but you will have a nice, good, chalky finish. So now I'm going to take 2 ribbons. This first one here is a Dollar Tree ribbon. It's a buffalo check. And then I have another second ribbon here that's an Amazon ribbon, the striped ribbon. Now I don't end up using it, but we use it on our little extra piece that we end up turning into a sign. So I'm just gluing the buffalo check around the edge, because buffalo check is where my little farmhouse heart lies. I can't say no to it. And I will be a fan of the buffalo check for years. So here you see me testing out the waters with that extra ribbon, and I decide, nope, we're going to leave this with just our classic little buffalo check ribbon here. And all I did was glue it around the edge. So it did cover up some of the places where I got the paint. And again, this is the DIY paint can be taken off with water. So if you get it somewhere you don't want it, you can just rub it off. This was my easy out to where I want to put ribbon on it and I don't want to clean it up. It wasn't really messy. I just didn't want to do it. So we're going to turn this into a little arrangement. So I'm taking a piece of styrofoam from my styrofoam stash, and we're going to just glue her down into the bottom of the basket. Now, once you do that, we're going to fill the top with a nice little handful of Spanish moss, and we're going to turn this into a flower. Well, not really floral. It's a greenery arrangement. Say that 5 times fast. So look how cute this little basket is on its own. You could actually put things in here like lollipops or anything like that if you have, maybe set that out on a desk somewhere in an office. But we're going to use some boxwood and the boxwood is from Walmart, and this right here is eucalyptus from Amazon and baby's breath from Amazon. That baby's breath I just got this year, and I absolutely love it. You will see me and have seen me use it in a lot of my projects. Almost every project today has the baby's breath in it. Don't judge me. I love it. So I'm taking all of these picks and I am pulling them apart stem by stem and putting them into, I'm doubling everything. So if I'm taking 4 stems off, I'm going to end up with 8. And I'll show you here, with the eucalyptus, I cut one stem in half right in the middle. And then that stem becomes even 2 more picks. So if you have a pick with 5 stems, I'm going to cut each stem off at 5 and then cut each stem in half, and then you have 10. So it's a good way to stretch out some of your greenery, your bundles, and then also I like mixing these different things together to give them texture, to give them depth, to give them, I don't know, interest. Guaranteed these things, boxwood and eucalyptus, couldn't tell you if they go together or if they grow together, or I don't know. I just like it because it's green. So do what makes you happy. Now the baby's breath, I'm just adding in as a little bit of a filler. I wanted some florals, but I didn't really want to put any silk flowers or anything else like that. I just wanted a cute little pop of white flowers, like almost like little tiny baby daisies, something like that. That's just at least how my brain was thinking of it when I was making it. And I just kind of tucked them in, and everything I'm gluing with my hot glue gun into the styrofoam. So this is a permanent arrangement. Nothing is going to come out. If you choose to duplicate this and then you don't use glue, you can change your flowers and florals out with the seasons or your theme or anything else like that you still want to do. And there's even still a possibility that you could still use this as a placeholder for any type of, like cake pops or any kind of like maybe those candy arrangements, something like that. But again, I love this as the tabletop piece she became. Tell me what you think. That little basket has a new life, and now she's going to be so cute. Look how happy. Now the lid part here, we're going to turn this, I'm going to use this little hole to my advantage, and we're going to turn it into a hanger. So I'm going to use this, my favorite here, this home decor wood tint in the color walnut. Very important for walnut. This is my favorite color. I have literally forgotten. I mean, I know where my Waverly wax is, but I haven't touched it since I bought this stuff over a year ago. I love the wood tint. It's also very clean. It's tidy. It's not waxy, so you can actually put transfers over it. And look at that color. It's beautiful. And we're actually going to put white wax over it, which is also my second favorite thing to do with that wood tint. But first off, I'm going to show you this ribbon. I got this, it just says Farmhouse. I got it from craftoutlet.com so many years ago that I don't know if it's available. So here's a code. If you choose to want to research that code, go for it, look at it. Apparently when I bought it, I got it for $6.95. If it's there, wonderful. Might be more. Guaranteed it probably will be, because that's where we live in now. But I've had this little piece of this little piece of the ribbon itself here. I attempted to make a ribbon or a bow out of it a while back, and I've had this little piece of the ribbon off to the side on my craft table here, just as farm. So I'm like, why don't I take this remnant and use it with these little this little thrift flip, because this was just a little happy accident. So I'm going to channel my inner Bob Ross, and we're going to have some more happy farm accidents. Actually, that doesn't sound right. We don't want a farm accident. Anyways, I'm going to take some scrapbook adhesive. I'm running just a strip down the middle to hold it down. Then I'm going to use my hot glue on the top and bottom edge of the ribbon. And then from there, I'm going to take my little needle nose crafty pliers, and I'm going to pull the wire out. Not that that's important. There's a little bit of far there to kind of singe the edges so it doesn't fray. And now those are my thinking fingers. What do we do next? So let's get the white wax out. Again, this is not the normal wax I use. I have not found it yet, but you will see me find my wax later on in the video. And I white wax it to my heart's content. I should have put more, honestly. I like that dusty look. It's like a farmy dusty look with the white wax. And now this is my baby wipe that I used with the wood tint on it. So I have that leftover little wood tint still on that baby wipe. And I'm just rubbing it in certain places on the actual farm part of that ribbon. And it gives it that nice little weathered, dirty look. So it's like it's a dirty vintage look. We want our stuff to, like, we take brand new things and make them look dirty, because it makes me happy. So now here we have our sign. So I'm happy with its weathered. I'm happy with its aging. I like the techniques and textures. And here's that little piece of ribbon that we didn't use on the basket. We're now going to use this as our hanger. Now, I'm going to put a bow on here, but you'll see this is the creative process happening. I've sped this up, and I did cut some of it out, guys, because it was way too much time spent on one bow. Trust me. Even you, as much as you guys give me the wonderful comments that you could watch me for hours, some of these things took more than hours. Trust me, this is over the course of a few days of recording. Wow, Whitney, I spend way too much time on certain things. But again, when you're in there and you're in the zone and you're having fun, you don't know, time flies. That's when you know you're doing something right? So you see me put a staple in there and then tie the bow traditionally like, a normal knotted bow. I'm going to redo that in a second after I cut this here. So I use my fingernails to put that natural little curve in those tails, which is also a nice little touch. But I'm going to use the rest of the ribbon here and put it through the hole, and we're going to turn this into our hanger. Now I don't know if I change it before I put beads on it. So I got a hammer because my staples, it kind of went through a little bit. And then here you see me messing with it again. I believe this is where I pull it off. It just wouldn't sit right. Just wasn't making me happy. So I just kind of folded it on itself and put another staple in the middle. And my plan at this point here is I will be covering that staple up with some little, flowery buds from this baby's breath. So we'll do that in a second. So here I got some of my beads out. These are my little wooden beads and a little stash of wooden beads. These black ones are pre-painted. I got them from Dollar Tree a while back, and so I'm just using them. I got a little skewer, a little piece of stick from something that's left over, and I'm just feeding them into both of the ribbon, both pieces of ribbon. I put the ribbon through the hole, so now I have 2 tails, and I'm putting both tails through these beads. So we're gonna put 2 beads on. I don't know why 2. I honestly thought maybe I'll put 1 at the top with a knot above it or below it, and then it's like, I'm like, you know what, Whitney, you're making this weight. Just put the beads on it to make you happy. So I put the beads on it, and then I was happy. And then I just tied a knot at the top. So you'll see me mess around with it, thinking, okay, well, I'll put a bead at the top to hang it. But it's like, well, if we're hanging it, it's going to be hanged. It's probably going to hang on a nail or something, so it won't really matter. And then so I just tied a knot in the top of that, and that's the end of that. And there's me trying to use another piece of a remnant of something. I was like, quit trying to glue all the garbage to this stuff, Whitney. It's not a trash can. Just let it go. So here's little pieces of baby breath I cut off, and little extra little buds, the little buds that fall off here and there. And I just put a little grouping. We take that little piece of greenery out there, and I just put a little grouping on there and singed the edges of the ribbon so it wouldn't fray. And that's it. I like the white racks gave it that dusty farmhouse look that makes me happy. A lot of stuff is, black and white, adds a little bit of color. Now this is a little piece of greenery I had left over in my little junk bucket off to the side. I don't use these big leaves here, but I might as well show you the process of, I found them, I took them and I tucked them in, but I didn't like them, they're a little bit too big. So I took a piece of eucalyptus and I just kind of pulled some of the leaves off of it and then cut the really, the smaller end of it off and then glued all that around the bow. Just kind of tucked it in, made it look like it was a cute little bundled, arrangement that was meant to be that way. And that's really all it is just about pulling things apart and gluing them and tucking them into places. And I like how it turned out. So this was like its own little bonus DIY or its own little bonus thrift flip because I took a piece off of a piece off of a piece. So what do you think? I think it turned out great. Again, the color. Here she is hanging up on her own. Now me, quite honestly, I would probably just still put this in like a tiered tray and not really use it as a sign, but it has the ability to do both. I would lean it up just like this, probably on a shelf or shelf sitter. It doesn't roll. And then just let the ribbon fall in front of it. And then our little basket. It's a cute little grouping together anyways. It doesn't have to say farm fresh or farmhouse, just it's farm. It's just a random noun. You like these random noun signs? All right, so on to our next little DIY here. This is one of those little prefab signs, and I'm going to clean it. Here, let me show you the tag. Here's proof of life. You can see the date on it, 5/2024. It's not been sitting in my stash for billions of years like everything else. And I cleaned it off, and I'm not going to paint it. I'm going to leave it this natural wood color. I like what they did. It almost looks like the back had been professionally painted and the front had been weathered in a different way, but we're going to take this beautiful decoupage paper. I get this, most of my decoupage papers you'll see here, everything today is from miltonsdaughter.com. Lori is an amazing person. There is a link. There will be a link to each item that I use in my video today in the description below. So take a peek at them. You'll go right to the items. These papers are great. This is a thicker decoupage paper. It is not cardstock or scrapbook paper, but it is thicker. But I am not going to decoupage it. So I kind of got it situated on the sign where I wanted it, and I'm cutting it out. I want to make sure I get all of the blooms on there. I want all the petals on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use scrapbook adhesive. This is a glue runner that I've had for years, and I did just run out of it on this project right here. It's an AdTech glue runner. I was getting it at Hobby Lobby. I'm pretty sure you might still be able to. Then I just use my brayer because, again, I'm treating this like scrapbook paper. That is a permanent adhesive. It will not be going anywhere. This is an indoor decorative item. So, again, I'm not sealing this. So, with caution, please put your decorative items in places where they won't be weathered or, played football with, whatever. Once this is all down, I'm going to use my finger sander and I'm going to basically pull away at the rough, the loose edges in a downward motion away from the project. And that puts a nice little piece here that it gets a little cut on the edge, and you can literally almost perforating it, and you get a really clean edge as far as it's a sanded edge. So it's a clean sanded edge. It doesn't look like it's been cut with scissors or anything. Now, the middle pieces here that I used a blade on to get the cut pieces where the slats are, I'm using my finger sander here to show you. I'm going to actually, I'm going to sand the paper itself, and it gives it a very good weathered look. I'll show you in a second. Do you see the difference in the two? On that right side, that sanding block is taking the texture of the wood underneath it, so it actually looks like it's been painted on the wood. This is one of those things where hadn't planned it, had no idea that would happen, but it turned out to my benefit, and I love it. Here is a bunch of resin pieces I made with the Conservatory Labels mold from IOD. I got that also from miltonsdaughter.com. There will be, again, a link in my description if you want to take a peek at it. These labels I made a couple videos back. I made all the labels. So I'm going to choose an extra one. These are my leftovers. And I'm going to put this girl here on our project. So what I want to do is I want to paint it. I used amazing resin for the first time, and let me tell you, it is amazing. And you will be seeing me use old molds and new molds going forward. I'll be using a lot of resin. So here's my little trick for painting things without having to hold them down and get your fingers dirty, which doesn't matter because your fingers get dirty anyways. I just put a piece of tape with the sticky side up on cardboard, paper, wherever, and then I stick my little item there. This is also good for wood letters, little tiles, anything small that you want to paint and it kind of moves all around. I'm going to use the color Apothecary from DIY Paint on this one because this does match the perfect color of the floral petals, the flower petals in our decoupage paper. You can't really see that well off to the left, but it does turn out great, especially after I put some dark wax on it. Only have to use one coat. Covers it well, dries quickly. It's a beautiful, beautiful finish. We're gonna, guys, I found it. Here's my DIY clear wax. This stuff is great quality. It's like butter. I love it. Would never. I have other backups before I actually got my hands onto this DIY, but it does. It is a wonderful stuff. So, anyways, found it. You'll see that I'm applying it. It does darken the paint, but remember, it's wet. It takes time to cure. So at some point, sometimes up to days, depending on your climate where you live, blah, 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 said insert more technical terms here. It will dry out and it will look almost like another chalky finish once it's done. I'm going to add the clear wax first, and now I'm going to come back at it with dark wax. The reason why I put clear wax on first is that way I can control the dark wax, even though it really is about to look like I have no control over it, because if you think about it, the dark wax is going to stick to it and darken it 100%. The clear wax being underneath it gives you and gives me a little bit more control as to where I want it to be. Now I want it to be in all the little deep crevices, the nooks, the crannies, so that when I take my paper towel and wipe it off here, you get a very good vintagey, dirty, weathered, had a hard life, but look how pretty she still is. Look, that's basically what I'm saying. I had a hard life, but look how pretty I still am. So you can see that since it wasn't dry 100%, with the moisture of the wax, it did take some of the paint off in a couple places, but it is in such a beautiful color that it complements the feathers. Did you know that flowers made out of feathers, guys? Complements the flower petals, and I couldn't be happier. So, and you also see me, I keep coming back at it and dabbing it some more with some dark wax. So here we are. I also warmed it up with the back of, I warmed up the back of it with a heat gun. I got that off of that same video from before. You guys gave me those tips. So thank you for that. And I was able to kind of get it curved because it was a little bit too flat to fit on the top of the way the woods was shaped. So now that I talked through all that, we have some jute. I have some leftover white jute from who knows what or when or how long ago. And then I also have this very tiny, teeny, itty bitty little roll of regular jute that I got off of Amazon. Now I had to get that 3,600 foot roll of jute because my Dollar Tree decided to stop carrying the jute that I was buying. But in any event, I won't be running out anytime soon. Now I stapled a loop. I made 2 loops and I stapled the ends on one side on the back, and then I'm looping the other U shape through that. So you see, this is what we're looking like. It's almost like if you were to hook your fingers together. I'm making just something that has a little bit, it's just different. That's all it was. It's what I came up with because I didn't want to tie a knot and I didn't want to put a bow on it. I just wanted it to be different. I wanted her to be different. So After putting some glue on there, I use my little travel blow dryer here to solidify the glue a little bit quicker. And then after that, I'm just showing you here's glue. I'm going to take some craft tape and cover up those little splotches of glue and tape and staples because it's not pretty. And I want most of my stuff to at least look retail quality, somewhat finished. I mean, everything, these items are handmade. These items are, reused and pre-loved and all that good stuff. I just wanted it to look nice. So in any event, I took all these little remnants here and you're going to see something go wrong. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time. Here's me trying to plan it out, where I want to put the bow, where I want it to be, how I want it to look. I used all these little pieces. I made a nice little, ragtag bow, and you'll see me fussing with it. Oh, I cut the tails so that the tails are a good length. And we spent a lot of time on this, Whitney. Yep, we sure did. And then we're going to, do I want to put the white behind it? No, that might be a little bit too busy. I really wanted that bow at the top right. So I was like, no, that white jute's not going to go. It's just too busy with the thing that I put around the top. Nah. Okay, yeah. So I commit. I glued her down. I'm even messing with the little loopies. And it's a little, fuzzy and shaggy here. And here is where things happen. And apparently it caught fire. Now, again, I have water in here. I'm staring at it because you can't come back from this. Sometimes you're able to get some of the black soot and the burnt pieces off, but I literally burnt through the majority of this. And I was like, let me flick at it. No, that didn't work. All right, we have to make a new one. So I just made a new bow. I wrapped some of the jute from the spool about 6 times around my fingers. I tied another piece in the middle, got a knot on the back of it, cut the tails off, and now we have a nicer looking bow. It's more, tidy. It's tidier. And again, this time with more attention and paying very close attention and constantly blowing on it, I got the fuzzies off. I don't like fuzzies. I think things look way more clean and focused, even though I'm looking for a, shaggy farmhouse, vintagey, dirty look. I like my twine to not have fuzz. So tell me what you think. Second time's a charm. There were no fires. Everything was fine. Please, whatever you do, be careful when using fire, especially around wood and things like that. If you're not able to do that, then you probably shouldn't even be in the craft room. But the majority of us don't have fingerprints for a reason. So anyways, tell me what you think. I love how it turned out. Just added some stuff together, made me happy. Now, our second little sign that we got here. At first I wasn't going to paint it, and then I decided, no, here's your proof of life. Goodwill, $1.99. I am going to take this little girl and I'm going to do another decoupage. We're going to use a different paper, but I was like, well, let me go with black. So I had to wet my baby wipe back up here because most of my stuff has dried out. And it's been a minute since I've been in here, so it's kind of my bad. Sorry guys, it's been a minute, but my stuff was drying out. We're going to go back to the same, my new little bottle here of Little Black Dress from DIY Paint. Love this color. It's not dusty. It's not too close to the gray. It is a good, true black color, and I really like it. And that was I didn't have any DIY black paint, so of course I needed it. So I wasn't going to paint the top of this one, but I decided eventually just do the entire thing because every time I decoupage, whatever I decoupage on, I want it to be white underneath so that the paper pops. Anything that you're using, especially if it's a thinner paper, like the first one we used, that was a thicker paper, that wouldn't have mattered what color was underneath it, which is why I did not paint the previous project. But for this one, we're going to be using, I'll show you the paper in a second, we're going to be using a rice paper. So I decided to just do an entire coat of black over the whole thing. We have letters, we have wording. You can see it's a little raised, but in any event, here's our little black frame. Now you could use this as a riser, put some feet underneath it. You can even flip it up upside down and use the back of it as like a little dish or a floral holder, but we're going to DIY this. I'm going to use the color beadboard and DIY paint, and I'm going to paint the top of it. Now, what I plan to do is decoupage a piece of very beautiful, it's got a little typewriter on it. I'm spoiling it for you. Hold on. I got to take a drink of water, guys. I'm talking way too much. Excuse me. Also on top of that, this is the second time that I am recording the 40 minutes of this video because apparently I didn't have the input in correctly, and I sat here and talked to myself for 40 minutes without recording. It's wonderful. Side note, unimportant. So after that little white, after I put the white layer on there, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're putting the paper over it, but it needs to be there so that we can cover, so that the actual piece, you see how you can see through there? The piece pops. If we had left that black, it would be dark and then your image would get lost. So I like to put a white layer on everything somehow, somewhere, so that you can see whatever you're decoupaging on. This is a rice paper, also from miltonsdaughter.com. Again, there will be links to all of my DIY and decoupage papers and IOD items in the description of this video. So, liquid patina. This is an actual decoupage medium. It is now my favorite decoupage medium. If you choose to use a water and glue combo or Mod Podge or any other type of medium that is your choice, you go ahead and do whatever makes you happy, whatever makes your little crafty heart happy. I love this stuff, and I get no problems. I get no wrinkles. I get no bubbles. I have not had a problem with it, and I've been using it for over a year now. Pretty sure at least a year. And so what I do is I'm concentrating on the edges to make sure that once we get all this done, and again, I am an impatient crafter, so I use my hair blow dryer, that little travel dryer there. I got a good edge. Don't try to do this sanding stuff when it's still wet. It will tear everything. I have done it, and I have had to tell myself to calm down and just wait for 2 minutes. It's just 2 minutes. I mean, get your phone out and get lost in Instagram, Whitney. It's really fun. And 6 hours later, oh yeah, the decoupage is definitely dry by now. But look at this edge. I'm going to show you in a second. This looks like this is printed on here, does it not? This is, again, the combination of that really good quality rice paper. And I want to say that it wasn't even that expensive. I want to say it's like maybe $4 or $6. Take a look. Majority of these papers are not that expensive. You can go anywhere from $3, $50, $4 up to $6, $8, and $10. Just depends. Take a look at the website. She has so many papers and so many beautiful images. So now, because I'm talking through this, I'm using my clear wax to seal in all of the black paint, because this is DIY paint. Again, it has no sealer, and it needs to be sealed. So we're putting the clear paint on all of it. And I gotta clean my brush off again, and make sure you clean your brushes. And then now I'm gonna go in with the dark wax around the edges. Now this is to give it, again, I want that aged look, and I love the vintage classic, old style of that typewriter. And I wanted it to kind of look like an old timey photo. So there I'm showing you that's dark wax, also available on the website. You'll see a link. And look how it looks. It's just like, this is somewhat dry. It's not 100% dry, guaranteed. I'm not waiting that long to do a video, to wait for the stuff for days to dry. But I wanted to add something else to it, but I don't want it to be too long and involved. And hold on, guys. Sorry. I got 2 puppies, by the way. I'm releasing that now. So I'll see in the comments if you guys are listening. I got 2 new wiener dogs. So Zoe is loving her new little brothers, and her little brothers love her, but they are tearing things up right now when I'm trying to record. The first time I recorded this, they were sleeping. Now they're awake, so we might be hearing them sing the song of their people while I'm trying to record. So anyways, I'll put a picture at the end, you guys. I'll put a picture. It's Henry and Cosmo. These are my new babies, Henry and Cosmo. I'll show you guys. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to tie this around. So I wrapped jute around the entire project, and then I tied a knot and glued it on there. But what I wanted to do is I wanted it to be a bow, but not a knot, and not a bow knot. Not, Does that make sense? Yeah, sure. Follow that? Yeah. Anyway, so you'll see me here taking some tweezers. I brought you in close so you can see how I'm just kind of tying it around here. I'm liking the way this bundling works, but then how do I end it? So then I tied a knot on it, even though I did not want a knot. So make it not a knot, Whitney. And then you'll see, oh, hated it. So 2 snaps in a V formation. Take that out. Then I put some glue at the bottom. Now, yeah, I'm gluing it to wax, which no, it won't stick to the project, but I'm basically using our piece to glue the jute to itself. Again, very careful with burning my fuzzies. I'm making sure I'm blowing on it, making sure none of the embers stay. I have water. It's all safe. I have a spray bottle. We're good. And look how perfect it is. If there is a better way to put that little bundle there in the middle, you let me know. But in order to get it to stick the way I wanted it to stick, this is just how it had to happen. So again, the way my mind worked, that's just, it worked out okay, and I love the way it looks. It's very simple. No ribbon, no florals, just the way it looks. And again, that decoupage liquid patina and the paper looks gorgeous. Like, it looks like it's printed on it. You can't even tell. It's gorgeous. I love it. Tell me what you think. Okay, now we'll start our picture frames. So the day that I went to Goodwill, it was 50% off all the green tags. So I got this girl here for 49 cents. Look how pretty she is, 49 cents. It's cheaper than Dollar Tree. And this is a really good thick wood too. So I'm taking it all apart. And now this one was done in a way that I had to come back at it and change it. Now, at first I was going to paint this, but I was liking the way that this shiny finish was coming off of it. Now, I don't think that was stain. I don't know what was on it, but this was sanding off very easily, and it was very dusty, but it was coming off in such a way that I was like, oh, this is pretty easy. And normally I don't like making that big of a mess, but I like the way it looked at the end, so I decided not to paint it. I like the way it has a very weathered, very old look. You know, again, we take new things and make them look old. We take new clean items and make them look old and dirty and weathered like they've had hard lives when technically they haven't. So it is what it is. It makes me happy. So now what I've done here is I need a thicker piece of cardstock. So this is just a piece of white cardstock that I've had that I got something mailed to me in, whether it was a stencil or rub-on transfers. It's just, you know, sometimes when you get those mail shipments, they have a thicker piece of cardboard in there, but not actual cardboard. That's what that is. I save these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it to the size of the insert for the frame, and I'm going to use this piece of burlap. This is a piece of burlap I cut off of a very big roll off to the side that I could not pick up and bring over to show you on camera. But anyways, just find some burlap. But you could also even use scrapbook paper at this point, but I wanted the texture and I wanted it to be very, you know, 3D. I wanted it to have depth. So look at this 4-piece decoupage paper. Again, miltonsdaughter.com. I'm going to use this top left one because the colors are amazing with that frame. The light brown with the distressed, and there's just oranges in there that are just gorgeous with it. Make me so happy. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just going to attach the decoupage paper right on top of that burlap piece on that cardstock. I do not leave it this way. This is just the first run through. I literally finished this project and I went to eat dinner and I was thinking about it, and then I came back into my craft room and I changed it, which I will show you here in one run. I'm going to just attach that extra piece I recorded right to the end of this, obviously. So I put the glass on top and I stuck it in there. Now it was a little bit crooked and I'm like, okay, it's fine. It gives it that handmade look. It's not horrible. It's not bad. I love it. It's pretty. All right. Now here, we're going to come to me revisiting and thinking it. Okay. So we're going to take it out. I did not want the glass up front. I wanted the texture to show, and I wanted to change up how this decoupage paper, this rice paper, needed a little bit more of a showcase, in my opinion. So I'm going to take all these little goodies off the back. So that's the insert, the cardboard, and the glass off to the side. And now I'm going to take the rice paper off of the burlap. Now I hot glued it on. So I was going to try to use a little spatula here, but I repeat, do not want to rip it. So I got my heat gun out, and with just light heat, not too close, not too much, I was able to get all the paper off, and we're good to go. Now, there were some little pieces of glue. We get that off. What I'm going to do here, we're going to bring back our liquid patina, and we're going to decoupage that pretty girl right onto the back of an envelope. Now this that you're seeing here is a white envelope that I actually got some stencils from Essential Stencils in. So save your envelopes, save your cardstocks. If you can tell the texture and the thickness is a good quality, you'll need them and you'll use them, which is what I've done. I've saved some of these things. This isn't where the address is or anything, and it's a decent, and I'm using it for a behind the scenes. It's also already white, so I don't have to paint anything. So again, just showing you another little hack or a good reason to save some things you think you'll never use. Trash to treasure, but also very, very useful, very resourceful, and very good for recycling, I guess. That's how I'm going to excuse it. Now I'm going to take this piece of cardstock and I'm going to glue this now to the front of the burlap. And that's not all. I'm just putting it behind there to make it look good. Now I'm going to take some jute and I am going to outline our little florally goodie pretty girl here with bigger jute. Now this is a piece of bigger jute that is literally a remnant from something that I really honestly couldn't tell you where I got it from. So we all have stuff like that. It's a bundle that was in my stash that I could not figure out what I took it off of, and I saved it, but now I'm using it. So I'm just gluing it around the edges, and then when I get to the bottom, you can see a seam, but we're going to cover that up with a cute little bow and just put some hot glue right around the edge, and we have a nice little decorative border around what really does look like a seed packet. And I mean, I love these flowers. They're gorgeous. I'm a sucker for florals. I'm a sucker for pumpkins, and it shows in pretty much almost everything I do. If there's not flowers or ribbon and pumpkins, oh my, then you're not on my channel. So what I'm doing is I'm taking all of the goodies and I'm tucking the glass and everything in the back. So if you choose to come back to this, this is just an insert. That's me messing with stuff, trying to figure out a bow. Now I'm getting sidetracked here. I used a finger bow technique to make this out of the jute. I have a separate finger bow tutorial linked in my description if you want to peek at it. It slows it down, shows you how to do it step by step. But it was very, very effective and very quick to use the jute cord for that. And then I'm tucking, I just glued that down on top of the seam of the cord or the jute that's around our little decoupage piece. And then I'm just going to glue in these little tiny pieces of that baby's breath all around. And I've already forgotten what I was saying before about why I interrupted myself. Dang it. Oh, if you choose to, this is just an insert. So yes, we have texture. Yes, you can touch this and feel the burlap. If you open up the back of the frame, you can take these pieces of cardstock out and save them for different times of the year. And then you still have the glass behind here and you can still use it as a picture frame. Or you can make a whole new insert for a whole new holiday theme event, what have you. Insert happy craft item here. Whatever makes you happy. But tell me what you think. I love that the frame was not meant to be that way and it turned out great. I love the colors and I love it. And I'm glad I came back to it and changed it and made me happy. Tell me what you think. And have you done that before too? You change it to make you happy? Because it's all that matters is what makes you happy. Now our last frame, our last goodie for this video. This one $3.99, so 50% off. I got it for $2.99. No, $4. I got it for $2. Wow, Whitney. Okay, yeah. Anyways, it's $4. Got it for $2 because, you know, math and stuff. Take everything out of it. We're going to do a very similar thing as this first one. So, taking everything out. And with this girl, I'm going to paint her all black with the little black dress color that I just got for this video. She makes me so happy. It's such a pretty color. And again, black is not void of color. Usually white is. This is such a very deep, dark black that, I mean, sometimes I think that, the video quality and or pictures don't do these things justice. It is so pretty and gorgeous. By the way, my dogs are going to start playing with some squeaky toys with little crinkly papers in them, so I apologize in advance, but I am now the mommy of puppies, and this is probably what's going to happen. I mean, mine aren't human, but they're still my kids. So, in any event, paint this entire thing. Look how fast it dries, too. That's why I love that DIY paint. We are going to seal it when we're done here, so it's got a solid black coat. Now, we're not sealing it yet. Sorry, I forgot. Next step. I have a very damp... hey guys, I have a very damp paper towel here and I only want to wet distress this. This is the best part of DIY paint, wet distressing. I love doing it. So I'm only taking off with some moisture. I added a little bit more water because my paper towel was a little bit too dry and I start taking off the edges. So you're going to see me, I'm going to speed this up, but I literally wet distressed back the edges. And I like the natural color of the wood frame that was underneath it. It was like a lighter blonde color wood that I didn't mind at all, but I wanted this to be black. I wanted this, again, everything I do is weathered. That's just how I do it. That's my style. Now, we're going back in with the clear wax. This is, again, I'm going to point at it every time just in case you're new and this is like your first time and this is the chunk of the video you're in on. It's a clear wax, Debbie's DIY wax. I get it from miltonsdaughter.com. It is like butter. It is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It takes a little bit to cure. Not horrible. And that's all we're doing for the frame because that paint needs to be sealed. Now here's the thing, like the previous picture frame, I have my insert, I cut a piece of cardstock to fit. And now this right here is called jute webbing. And it's right here, you see the black jute webbing, 72 yards? Yes, I bought 72 yards of this from burlapfabric.com. I have a small spare tire of jute webbing in my craft room. So I'm just showing you, I cut 2 pieces off of it because again, my room is so cluttered that I can't get to that spare tire in order to pick it up and put it on the table to show you. But I do have a lot of it. You have seen me use it in the past and you will see me use it again in the future. I just glued it down to the cardstock that we cut for the size of the frame. And this gives it a very pretty country, vintagey, cottagey, insert said description of theme here. I just love the way this looks as a background. Look at that. Doesn't have to be straight. It's a webbing, so it's not perfect anyways. It's perfectly imperfect, and that's what makes me happy. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bundled bouquet on the front of it. So almost like we bundled up some flowers on the side of the road, or we hung some herbs to dry in the roof of our cottage, and then they're dry, so now we take them down to put them in a picture frame, because that makes sense. Anyways, so I cut all these little stems off of one of the bundles of baby's breath I get from Amazon, and I'm taking my jute cord that I got from Amazon also, and I'm wrapping the bottom in it in such a crazy manner that it doesn't matter. And then I glue the edges down so that you can't see them. And then we have a cute little bundle here. We have a cute little bundled bouquet of little baby's breath. Now, pick any flower you want. Maybe just one flower or 2 flowers, and then you have that little bundled piece there. And then I'm going to arrange them a little bit, fuss with them to make them look natural, even though they're not, and then glue them down. I'm taking extra little pieces of these, the baby's breath, the little buds that fall off from here and there in the packaging. And I'm just kind of sprinkling them all around the bottom. And then I do at the last minute decide to make another jute finger bow. jute cord finger bow. Again, so fast and easy. You're probably going to see me do this a lot. And glue that right to the top of our little bundle. And I couldn't be happier. That's it. Look how pretty it is. I was over the top excited about this one, which made me go back to fix a previous one without the glass. Again, the glass is in the back of that, so you can take this insert out. It's on cardstock that you cut separately, and you can make many different ones. It's interchangeable. Save these, throw them away. I mean, I would never do that. Never recycle them before you throw them away. But you can change them out, and then you can still use it as a picture frame should you choose to. But I really do love the way it looks without the glass. Tell me what you think. I love them. And also that weathering, that wet distressing just makes them happy. Makes them a farmhouse heart happy. So that's it, you guys. I got 5 items, made 6 DIYs. Tell me what you think about this. Is this something you want to see me do? As I go and I group them together, I buy them together, I will do one video. So we have a nice little eclectic mess of happiness. That's the boys wrestling. That's not Chewbacca murdering anyone. Promise me, that's just the boys wrestling. And that's it. I love how it turned out. Tell me what you think. And do you want me to keep doing this? Because I could tell you honestly, guys, I'm itching to go back to find more goodies. Even just small little, what they call smalls, tabletop things. Then, of course, all these goodies are going to be for sale. And I love how they turned out. Tell me what you think. So happy. And again, it's been a minute, guys, but thank you so much for joining me. I have a coffee page, so if you like what I do or find you've learned something and you want to drop a donation, there's a link in the description. Also, my DIYs will be for sale there. And with all that being said, I love you more than I can possibly say in words. Many hugs, happy crafting, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.